Right, so we will continue from where we left off. And what we're going to do now is start displaying the answers. So I think first thing I'll do is I don't really need this use effect at this point, so I'll get rid of that. And the other thing I'll do is this question, I think we can split this into its own component. So what I can do is I can come over here and I can say question.js, and we can just do the React. And for now, we will just return in h2, and we'll say props.question. Okay, and then what we can do is come over here, and we can say question question equals q. And obviously, we need to bring in question. That's a big question. Components question. Okay, and let me see. I'll just save this. It's saying it can find the file. Oh yes, we don't need this because it's in the same directory. So there you go. We have the question now in its own component. Probably will go with h3. It's too big. Right. Okay, so now let's get into the answer section. So the way the answers are is if we look at the JSON file, we have a correct answer and then we have an array of incorrect answers. So we need to display them all in one list. So we need to somehow merge these two together. And the way we're going to do this is I think something like this. So we'll just come here, we'll say A for answers. I'll just borrow this line. Right, and we will only do this if we have if we have some data to work with. So in order to merge it, we will just use the join array function. So we will say, I guess, props dot data dot questions at the current index. So we'll take the incorrect answers, and since this is an array, what we can do is we can join it by, say, a pipe operator, and hopefully the question won't have this operator. So, and then we need to pipe it and then join it with the correct answer. So what I'll do is I'll just come here and I'll say the correct answer, and this is correct answer. And then at the end, what we need to do is we need to split it again by the pipe operator. That'll give us the array. So if we have data like questions, then do this. Otherwise, we just return an empty array. So this is just a ternary operator. Of course, this won't work this the way it is. So we need to convert this to a string. And you can just do it like this. And I'm gonna cover this, and then at the same time, I need to come over here, take this. I think I need to just cover the last one. And then I'll take all of this, curly it, and do that. So with that, what will happen is we're just going to have one array and it's going to have the correct and incorrect answers. And then what I can do is I can come here and let's just make sure this works. So we're going to start, we will say a.map. We're going to run the map function. And what we're going to do is the value and then the index. And then we will just simply display it in a list item. And this gonna be, I think I'll answer. We'll say answer and close it off like that. And there you go. So we are displaying our answers. So if I go to the next question, we're getting the answer for the next and so on. Now, one thing is I need to add some kind of a click listener. But before I do that, I think what we should do is split this also into its own component. So let's come over here and then I'll create another component. We'll call it answer.js. And I'll just borrow this from here. I'm being lazy. And let's call this answer. And all right, so what we need to do then is I'll just come here and I'll say answer. So we need to pass in the data to it. So we'll say data is equal to a, which are answers, or better yet, let's just call it answers. And what I can do is I can take this guy, I don't need it here. I'll go into my answer and I'll just plug this in here. Now, of course, we don't know what a is, so we'll just say props.answer.map, and we just need to assign this to a variable, and then in here I can just return answer. Okay, and it looks like this should be answers. Okay, so we have an error in quiz.js. They're saying answer. Oh yes. So we need to bring this in. So we'll just say answer, and that's the answer. All right. So yeah, you get this warning saying like we need to have a key. So simply what we do is like the worst thing, this is the worst thing you can do. If you can't find anything, just assign it the index and that should take care of it. But if you're getting your data from a endpoint, usually they have some IDs, you could use those, but that works too. So we have that. I can go through. It's pretty sweet. That's not what I want. All right, so now the next thing we want is we're kind of splitting our data into different components, which is good. And I think what I also need to do is maybe put this into its own component. So I'll come over here and we'll just call these actions.js, and we'll just say React from React. The whole idea about React is splitting things into its own components. The more you have, the more you can reuse them, and it becomes easier to maintain it. So we will just say function, and let's call it actions. We're gonna pass in some props. And what do we want to do? Well, we want to do this. So I'll just X this out, and I'll say return this. I'll say return this button. So this will become props.next question, right? Because when you click on this button, it's going to go back into the parent component and it's going to pretty much execute this. Now, of course, we need to bring this in, and we need to define this. So next question, and we'll just say next question equals next question. And of course, it doesn't know what action is. So we're gonna define actions. Okay, save, and hopefully this works. Yep, it works very well. All right, so now let's add a click listener on these answers, that when we click on an answer, for starter, we'll just display it. So what I'll do is I'll come here and we will pass in, well, before I do that, I'll just come into the answer and we will say that we'll just add a click listener. On click, we will say props.onAnswer. So now we need to define this function back in here, and we'll say onAnswer is equal to onAnswer, We just need to define this function. We will just say on answer, and we'll just pass in these params. Let's just see what this gives us. So we'll just log this. So if I click on it, we got this because it's trying to print the entire probability tree. So we'll just say target. Let's see what that gives us. All right, so we got that. So in the inner HTML, we have our value. So I could say inner HTML. And okay, so now we are getting our answer. The one thing is the cursor turns into that typewriter thing. So we could remedy this by coming here and saying pointer. Oh yeah, we'll just do that, and we'll say cursor pointer. Then I can come here on the answers and we can add that here. We'll just say class name equals pointer, and this is not converting. So pointer, that's correct. All right, so class name is pointer. It's not picking it up. What if I take it from here? And you know what we could do? We could just use classes. I think that's better. So I'll just come here. I'll say class names. I think that's what it's called, class names. Install that, and I'll just need to bring this in. I'll just say cx class. I use this in my other tutorial, the menu, so you can look at that tutorial to see what this is. And we can do something like const class names equal to cx pointer, and then what you can do, this way you can dynamically control this later on. Class name. So what happened? Class name install package class name. Oh, it's class name. Class names, not class name, class names. That's what it is. I need to delete this one. It doesn't even exist. I don't even know why I installed it. Anyway, so all right, for some reason it just doesn't want to register this. So if I just do inspect, actually it does have the class pointer. So can I do this? Cursor pointer. Whoa. Yeah, it works on this one. Cursor pointer. Anyways, we won't worry about this for now. We'll figure this out some other time, but we'll just leave it for now. Anyway, so now that we have the answer, we need to see if we got the right answer. So what I can do is we'll just store this in a const, and we will just say selection is that. Then we will just do if selection equals triple check is equal to the correct answer. So I'll just come here and I'll take this. Then we're just gonna do console log, will say correct. Okay, so let me just see. So yes, we got correct. If I select the others, that's wrong. Then if I select the others, I'm not getting anything. But if I select Jones, then I get correct. Then Fiji. Now, one thing you can see is the correct answer is always at the bottom, and that's because of how we have done this array business right here. So probably in the next tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to use some sort of algorithm to shuffle these answers so that we don't have the correct answer always at the bottom. And we might also look into how we can maybe highlight a correct answer. And the other problem is if I just keep going, let me see if the error there. So you got this this problem. That's because the index, it ran out of the array length. So I mean, if it's 10 questions, it becomes 11, and then boom, you get this. So we'll fix this the next tutorial.